Okay, the last bit are two terms in this chapter, chapter 13, that are rather difficult. I think especially the way the book describes them. They don't use the word allele in the definitions in the book, and I wish they did. I think that might make things a little bit easier for you guys. So the first one we're going to deal with is the law of segregation. So what I have here is some meiosis abbreviated significantly. So what we can say is we're making two eggs or ova from this. And here we're going to use that trait with green pea pods that we talked about in chapter 12. Green is dominant to yellow pea pods, if memory serves me correct. When these separate, or they will separate or segregate, if big G little g is in the cell that's going to divide, each offspring cell, daughter cell, can only have one of the alleles. So it can, in this case, this one gets the dominant allele, a big G. This ovum gets a little g, the recessive allele. So these segregate during meiosis. The alleles of a gene pair separate. So this organism had big G, little g, and those alleles have to segregate to form the sex cells. In this case, I referred to those as ova. They had to separate. So separation, segregation, that is what that law states. Okay? Hopefully that makes things a little clearer. The second one is the law of independent assortment. Now I took three traits here, and that is a chromosome. All right, so that's often how we showed that. I showed it on the board when we were in school, and I showed where these genes are located on a chromosome. Now that I just made this up. So there is where the gene for whether a pea plant is tall or short. So here we have a heterozygous individual, big T, little t. Over here, that is where the gene for the pod color is. Okay, in this case, this individual is little g, little g. And finally, I took another gene on the chromosome and located there, and that is for the flower color, purple versus white. Now this one is homozygous dominant, big P, so this one would produce a purple flower. Now, the law of independent assortment states that these traits will not affect each other. They are independent of each other. That whether a plant is tall or short does not affect the flower color at all. Whether the flower color is purple or white does not affect whether the pea is green or whether the green is, or whether the pea is yellow. They sort independently. So one possibility through meiosis is an individual may end up having, let's say, an ovum might have a little t, a big P, and a little g. Another possibility is a big T, a big P, and a little g. So the height is not affected by the flower color, and that is not affected by the pod color. These traits sort independently of one another. Okay? One does not depend upon another. Something you might apply this to in real life is your height does not determine your IQ, your intelligence at all. Intelligence has nothing to do with height. Shoe size has nothing to do whether you're prone to ingrown toenails or not. It has nothing to do with it. Those are independent of each other. Okay? Hopefully that description helps out a little bit. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take it easy.